Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm here with Max. We got FOMO here. How you doing?
What happened? It's like I moved over.
Is there something going on with audio or what?
I'm like, wait. I thought I logged off. How did I get over here?
Oh, got you. Yeah, man, that QM8's pretty impressive. Really think that is going to be a good value all year long for people. And 85 inch was 2100, 28, 2087 was yesterday. A couple
Let's
people
just say
picked it up.
2100 at worst, but by
Yeah,
Black Friday, 1900? Oh, oh man.
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
sleeper. It looked pretty
Yeah.
good because I was looking at the comparison and seeing it against the UAH. I was just like, yeah, that looks really good. It looks really good.
Yep.
It did. Well, you saw it against the G3, and that's why I put it up there. It's
Oh
hard
yeah.
to get context. You have an OLED, which it represents, and then you have the UAH, which represents the best of last year, and then you have the QM8 with 1,000 dimming zones. How close can they get? I'm like, wow. Because you know the Q95C at same price, 3,300, it better do well.
Mhm.
But at 1,500 right now, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And the fact that TCL is just pushing up their lineup finally, we've been asking that for like how long, you know?
Yeah.
The 8 series was like a step, but then they had some problems with that when it launched, and then we never seen anything close to what the 8 series was again.
And you know what? I have to mention though, because a lot of people say, "Oh, you know what? You're just pushing TCL, blah blah blah." TCL won't even talk to me. I had to go to Best Buy to pick this up. Just so you guys know, I spent all spring asking TCL, "Hey, this QM8, the specs look really good." Not a peep. They're like, "We don't need you anymore." Basically, right? Because normally they cannot wait to send me a TV. Wouldn't even talk to me. I had to go, I had to find out from you guys. Guess what? The QM8 is launching pre-order on Best Buy. Like, what? What?
Yeah.
And so I literally had to, just like everyone else,
Mhm.
pre-order in Best Buy, go to the local distribution center, pick it up, bring it home. Not a peep from TCL because they don't need this. They
Yeah.
know they got this covered. They don't need influencers anymore. And when I say need, they normally kind of call us, say, hey, you guys want to try this TV? Kind of show it off? They don't have to. So that's just so that I'm excited genuinely without having anything to do with TCL. I've never been sponsored by them ever, and now it's even worse. They won't even talk to me. So they're
Right.
playing big boy on us, right? So despite that, I'm very impressed by the QM8.
Yep. I mean, we were really impressed with it at CES. I know
Mm-hmm.
both you and I were like, well, this is like one of the most impressive TVs here at CES. So,
Yeah,
Competition. That's all you can
yeah.
say.
competition. That's
We're
what it
looking
is.
for Hisense coming out, so that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Hisense. I'll be getting that. Well, Hisense is going to replace the U8H because I had it on loan for the last year, and I said, look, once you release the U8K, let's swap it. So we'll have the U8K, whenever their loaner comes out. And next week I'll have the S90C, 77-inch with the new panel to compare with the S95C.
Mhm.
So now we know it's apples to apples because, like you're saying, KG, we don't know. Is it going to be the first gen, the second gen on the 55 and 65? So if I say, wow, it looks so awesome, it ends up being a golden sample because it's coming from Samsung. It ends up being a golden sample second gen. We have no way of knowing,
Yeah.
right? So it's really hard. So anyway, but hey, thanks for having me on to warm up your
Oh, yeah.
stream. I'm going to
No
run up and pick up
problem.
my daughter.
Thanks for having me on.
Nah,
But I'll
think.
see you guys in the car.
All right, have
Yep.
a good one. Take
Everyone,
care. All
Have
right,
a good
bye.
one.
bye-bye.
Later. Yeah, that QM8, man. It when we saw it at CES, it was like right away. It's on the radar, and it's impressive because it was very close to what we saw with some of the Neo QLEDs, and I thought like right away when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is like that level. It was like that Samsung Neo QLED level of the TV, and I liked it a lot, man. And so when I saw it, I was like, there's not much here that compares to it on the floor for like mini LED, but other than like Samsung. And then the Hisense UX, but that's just a whole different beast. Like the
Yeah.
UX is just like a different beast entirely. But I did like it better than the U8K, but it is priced a little bit higher than the U8K. It's not supposed to compete with the U8K. So like TCL redid their whole entire lineup because it was so confusing for consumers. Because like you would say, "Hey, I'm gonna get the 5 series," and then you're like in your head, like which 5 series? The 2023 5 series, the 2022, the 2021. You know, they're all available all the time, so it's like very confusing. There was no real distinction other than like the R655 or the R6, you know, 445, whatever it was. See, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like that's how confusing it was. Is like even people who review the TVs don't even really know the actual things that are going on with the TV. So yeah, I think it was a smart move for TCL to do the whole lineup over and over again with a different naming structure, and all of it kind of makes sense. So the only mini LED TV is going to be the QM8 this year. The Q7 is actually just a QLED with a local dimming, full array local dimming. So
Yeah. I gotta get this comment right here. Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, they're stepping their game up, and I don't know. I'm thinking about Sony right now when they just released the X 93L, and so far I wasn't really all that impressed with it. But I mean, I'm happy, but I don't see that too much of a difference
yep. Hey, we
for my
got Classy here. What's
X95K.
up, Classy?
Hey, classy.
Not much, just driving.
Yep.
My,
Yeah.
my issue with the TCL naming is so Q for QLED,
Yep.
M for mini LED, 8 for
Right.
8 series. Then what do they do for next year other than change the secondary numbers that nobody knows or pays attention to?
Right. Yeah, that was one of the things I was kind of wondering about too.
It's just like Vizio with the P series and the PX and whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's all anyone knew is it was a P series, but no one ever really paid attention to the numbers that came after and designated the year.
Right. Let me look at the model number. It's like
Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah,
it is something we'll probably have to bring up like next year. Cause
Yeah, it's like they changed from one confusing naming scheme to another one.
yeah, so it's the QM50G. So the G would be like this year, I guess. At least they have that at the end, you know, the G. So like maybe they'll go to the H next year. You'll be able to tell the difference between them. But for now, I guess, you know, calling it the QM8 is like the best thing because there's no other QM8. But next year we might be calling it like the QM8H or something.
yeah, that's still going to be kind of
It's
confusing. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I see why they did the quantum mini LED,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's going to be
Yeah, they should have just made it a dual digit, so 8 for series and then another digit for year, so 83, then 84, so on.
yeah, that would have been simple.
Right. Yeah. Like the QM883 or something like that.
Well, now, yeah, because they put the M in there because they wanted to say like this the mini LED version of the TV. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's still confusing the more I'm thinking about it. But I mean, hey, if they sell, then it really doesn't matter.
Right. I need to check my audio.
I mean, it looked all right from a stream. The only thing I saw is I could tell it's a CSOT panel from the little bit of blooming there was, how blue it was.
Right. That makes sense though. It's TCL.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm saying
Yeah.
like it's like another
Yeah, of course they're
example
gonna
of
use their
the
own stuff.
blooming being blue.
Right.
Whereas that Hisense looks more grayish blooming, so the Hisense is probably using AUO.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So the audio seems fine. Let's see. So one of the other ones I was going to talk about launching this month is going to be the A80L. And that's one of the ones where it's like it's in that category with the C3 where it's so hard to talk about because you have the presence of the S90C, and then of course you also have like the S95B and 55 and 65 inch on sale, but it's not really available in 65 inch, so it's really just the 55 inch for the S95B. But it's like the A80L is in a rock and a hard place, and that's unfortunate because I really like their OLED TVs. and I think they have a lot of good functionality. But yeah, it's tough.
Have you ever seen one of the charts that breaks down the market share for each TV company?
No, I haven't.
Well, if you did, one of the small ones on there, their market share is a fraction of a TCL or Samsung or an LG. So
Yeah.
they mostly sell off of their name, and the A80L is going to be, because they've basically recycled it for 2-3 years now, it's high markup, so they don't have to sell many to make decent money off of them, and then they can easily discount it through the year as well.
Yeah.
So it's not a great performing or high performing TV, but it's still OLED. It'll be better than, say like an A series, but they can charge a little bit more for the few people that'll buy off the name, and then they can discount it later.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it does have some of the newer features, which is a drawing point for some people to get over the A80K if they had their eyes on that, So there's that, and I do believe it'll probably go on sale fairly quickly, much like the C3. I think the C3 is going to get discounted fairly quickly too.
Yeah, and I mean, and anyone buying right now or in the next couple months, I think should get a G2 over a C3, or save even more and get a C2. I just think the C2 and G2 are so close now. You might as well get a G2 versus the C2, but I would definitely take either of those at the discounted price over the C3.
Yeah, I was just about to say the C3 just way overpriced right now, especially going against the S90C and stuff. So yeah, because C3, I mean, I like it, but it's just the price is just not great.
Yeah. I think like the pricing of TVs right now, I think they're all overpriced, honestly, compared to what's on the market. So when you think about, do you want to pay up right now? That's the case every year, but it just feels like especially so this year. Like before I really recommend somebody to buy, I think they definitely have to have one of these sales here coming soon, like in June, July. I know Memorial Day is coming up. We did see like S95B get some price cuts on Memorial Day, but it wasn't huge. I think it was like $300. But we
Yeah,
already
and
seen
that
one get the S95C is $100 off right now, and the G3 comes to the stand.
yeah,
When if you buy
I
it
was
from
just about
Best
to say
Buy.
that. Yeah.
I'm
Gaming
kind of
Tech's
on a
in
back
here.
road right now, so if I sound like crap or anything, let me know.
Yeah, you were kind of like fading in and out, but you're good now.
Yeah.
I got most of what you were saying, so I'll let you know if you break up. Gaming Tech's here though. He got the S95C, if you guys didn't know. And so this is something like really huge for him, as
Yeah, for him to say that,
Yeah.
I got to get his impression because I know he had a bad experience with the QN95B. Yeah, so for him to say that's 95C, I'm happy to hear he's liking it.
Yeah, I helped him a bit and definitely told him to keep it offline. So I'm going to be testing the firmware as long as I know when it's safe to update.
Right.
But yeah, so he also checked for me. He has the Xbox dashboard firmware where you are able to set VRR to gaming only. And it seems like if you have that version of firmware, at least that's what you, KG, have and I have. And the three of us with the S95C can use original on the Xbox and it's fine. Other people, when they've set it to original on the Xbox, it clips really early, it gets really washed out and has no contrast. And it's just basically broken. And it's only with the Xbox.
Are those other people using a Series X?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that they weren't in the early access or whatever firmware.
Yeah, right.
And that Xbox or Microsoft, somehow, because they have a relationship with Samsung, they probably got the TV early.
Yeah, you're breaking up big time. I get what you're saying though.
No. Yeah, he dropped
They
off.
probably had the TV early and found some bugs. I think that's what he was trying to get at. And maybe they fixed that. So yeah, what he's alluding to is it clips really early and it has a lot of issues when it does that. So you'll see that in game. Um, but with the one that we have, you can actually get it to go all the way up to like it goes up to like 5,000 for me. But it really doesn't matter once you get past 4,000. It doesn't matter what you put it at because it's just gonna be 4,000 no matter what once you get past 4,000.
Yeah, and at least on the Xbox, it's not a big deal though, because off the top of my head, I can't think of any Xbox games that you would need to use it where they don't have a nit slider, they don't use the system level setting or whatever.
Right.
Really, it's only the PlayStation where you have God of War, The Last of Us, I think, Horizon, those kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you would want to use original.
Yeah.
But on the Xbox, I can't think of many.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really did like what original does with 4,000 nits. Like it just does seem like it gives you a really good highlights all across the board, and I don't feel like it clips much. Um, some people say they still need to turn down the contrast, but when you turn down the contrast, you're affecting the brightness too. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't use the contrast in HDR to keep it at what it is. But in
Right.
SDR, you want to turn it down to 38.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you watched my video, but I did put out my gaming video for it.
Yeah, I saw it. I thought it was a good video.
Yeah, I think it's funny how a lot of the stuff still stays pretty consistent from being from the way it was on LCD, but it's almost the same on OLED with a lot of the same functions, like you mentioned with the contrast on SDR.
Yeah, and I have the QN95C. I just haven't had time to take it out of the box yet and set it up.
Oh, you
But
do got it? Cool.
I'll start comparing them soon.
Nice. You're gonna get the QM8 and put it next to it?
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the debate right now if I should get the QM8 in for review or if I should wait until the U8K comes out and put it next to that.
Yeah, I
Or
have an offer to review the 98-inch of it. I just don't
Ooh.
have the room or ability to really do that at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think I could review a 98-inch myself.
Yeah, for me, it's I could probably get in the basement, but it's just getting down the stairs. That's going to be my issue. So I already know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, something might be changing for me where I have a different setup for doing reviews and stuff, and then I could, but I don't know what's going on with that yet. So.
yeah. People are saying wait for U8K. Actually, just one person said it. Wait for U8K. Maybe I should do a poll. I don't know. Like essentially what I could do. I still have the QN90C for a couple of days, and I could get the QM8 in here and compare it to the QN90C. They're fairly similar priced, so maybe. But one would be 65-inch and one would be 55-inch because the QM8 doesn't come in 55-inch. So I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not 65 to 55, so there's going to be like variations with that, but it should be close, because the local dimming zones increase with size just based on its size. It's not like a number increase. Like, you know what I mean? Like the zone count makes sense for 55-inch. It makes sense for 65-inch.
I don't know. So
It's different when you go to
I
a
still
different
think-
panel.
yeah,
I still think too much stock is put into the number of zones because
Right.
the QNED 90 had 2,000 zones for a 65-inch, but no
Yeah.
one liked that TV. The QNED 85 was better and only had 180 zones.
Yep.
yeah. I think it comes down to the processor and how they use the algorithm, and then the zones as well too. They all have to
Yeah,
come
the
together.
software control is the more important factor of the two. Of course, having more can be better if it's taken advantage of, but
Hmm.
You know, a TV with 1,000 zones isn't necessarily going to be better than a TV with 100.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. So have you heard anything on the X90L? I heard next month on that one.
That
If
I
there's an
don't know.
official release. There is an official release date. I just forgot it.
Yeah, let me look.
X90L,
Yeah,
Yeah,
X90L.
I
next month.
believe it's orderable or pre-orderable, and
Gotta
I
look
think
it
it
up.
should literally just be any. That was supposed to be, well, not first. The 93L was first, and then the 90L was supposed to come before the A80L. So something may have last minute, hiccup or whatever.
Right. Yeah, usually the X90L is the first one out. Well, that 90 series is the first one out.
Well, the 93 is
Yeah.
it's a
Well, I
rebadge
mean, that's a really easy one to
X95K.
reproduce,
So
right?
yeah, so it's easy for them to say like, yeah, just put a sticker on there like here's the
Yeah.
serial number. It's 93 now.
That's how I feel about the S90C. Like if you look at the back of the S90C and you look at where the button in position is it's very much the same as the S95B. So like the design feels all similar. Just the only difference is the stand is different. But the back feels the same. The back looks the same. Like I said, the button position is in the middle, where this year most of the TV buttons for 2023 Samsungs are on the side. So I don't know. Thought that was pretty interesting with the S90C.
Yeah, it is kind of yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, they're probably just saying like we'll just add this HDR tone mapping and everything else going to be the same. Make some
Yeah,
tweaks here and there.
and in game mode, like default game mode with game HDR off, like just incomparable modes, the S95B does look brighter than the S90C. So there is some difference there, where the S95C looked brighter than the S95B.
Mm,
But that was obvious because it was like you definitely have that second generation panel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It seemed like it's interesting. I'm just thinking about the pricing and stuff with all these TVs.
Hmm.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking that with the
Just remember,
QM8 came out, I think that's a really good price what they did. So especially going against the other mini LED TVs.
You get a 85-inch QN90B for $22.99 right now. That's that's pretty good.
Yeah.
and don't forget, Prime Day is June, so right around the corner, and then that's when all the last year models will get their like final big discounts.
Yep. Yeah, that and Memorial Day sales coming up. You should see some TVs start to disappear. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the S95B starts to disappear pretty soon. It's already gone in the 65-inch. Like I don't know anybody who can just order a 65-inch right now. Most places I've seen it at sold out. Costco cleared them out at like $11.99. 65-inch.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Costco's on some trips, man. I saw Classy, you posted the A80K 77-inch was like $21.99.
2150.
Yeah, $21.50. That's crazy.
And then on the audio side, they have their Denon. It's the like the model number starts with an S, but it's the same thing as their other ones like they sell at Best Buy that normally is like $700 or $800 at Best Buy. It's the same thing, just with the model number change at Costco. It's on sale for $399.
Yeah. The only Simon, this is a good question. I don't have a real answer for this. Why is the QN95 not widely available yet? Is there some kind of supply issue? I know it was like one of the first TVs that was supposed to be available, and then they pulled it like early, and then it never appeared, and then it's only on like Samsung's website right now. I haven't seen it on Best Buy or anywhere else. So
Yeah. So
I'm
what
not sure
happens
what's
with
going on with that.
TVs like that is, so like we saw the QN95B drop
Yeah.
in price a lot. what happens is some models, this happened with the G1 when the G2 was coming out. If Best Buy has excess stock that they're having trouble moving and they get the new model, they'll just sit on them in the warehouses and not actually start selling them until they've moved the prior model. So it's very common for flagships for that to happen.
Yeah, that does make sense. You got the QN95B at the same price as the QN90C in a couple of sizes right now too. So definitely worth noting. $15.99 for the 65-inch. It's not bad. And then that has the same processor as the 2023. But I know you said you saw the QN95B and you weren't too impressed with it. But that could be like a number of reasons. It could just be a one-off thing.
Yeah.
A80L or G3. I mean,
really?
price-wise, it's yeah, it's tough, but like G3 for sure is the better TV.
I mean, that's like basically saying, do you want an A3 or a G3?
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, it's probably more similar to the B series, but still not even quite as bright as a B series.
Yeah. Q95C isn't even on Samsung's website. It's only being sold by Value Electronics, ABT Electronics. It was on their website. I guess it's gone. I saw it like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it too. Yeah.
Because I thought I linked it, but maybe not. So many TV releases, I might have lost track, and that might not even happen. So, KG, what do you think of the A95K 65-inch or A90J 83-inch? If they're the same size, I would just go with the A90J 83-inch. I mean, that's just the size difference there. If they're the same price. What do you think of the A90J still, like, as a TV? I would get it over like the A80L if we're talking about a 55-inch TV right now, because it's like $11.99 for the A90J 55-inch.
Yeah, the A90J is definitely better than the A80L.
Yeah,
but I would take a C2 over an A90J.
maybe.
I mean, from all the ones I've seen, I would.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to review this C2 last year, so that's why I'm like don't know. But I know the C3 this year, yeah, I think it did a good job against the A90J.
And the C2 is more or less the same as the C3.
Well, then there you go then. So yeah, because for me, I felt, a lot of people were getting upset. It was like, why are you going against a 2021 TV against a 2023? Well, with Sony like to bring their TVs over another year and like to still sell them as brand new. And so I put it against the C3 just to see like how it stacks up, because it's supposed to be a master series.
It's also content, and it's a good content. I think it's a good thing because a lot of people still have this TV. And they just want to see how it does against the newer TVs.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
which is probably why you got a lot of people like butthurt in your comments.
Yeah, it was pretty upset.
Because
everybody kept on saying, everybody was thinking I was going to bend over for Sony and stuff, and I was just like, look, I say at the end of the day, it's like I like the A90J, but I mean, LG is making improvements every year, and this I felt like it wasn't incremental from. Like I said, I haven't seen the C2 last year, but going against the A90J, I felt that it did a really good job and stuff. So if people are upset about it, it is what it is and stuff. So I don't know what else to say. I can play with the settings as much as people want and stuff, but it's still the fact is that the C3 is still going to be brighter, better when it comes to other things and stuff. I didn't want to go into the whole detail and depth and all that other stuff. It's just like I felt that it was very similar to the A90J. It's like I was really splitting hairs if you want to go into detail and depth wise. I thought the C3 was definitely hanging on its own.
Yeah. I just think that like price wise right now, if you are in that 55-inch size, like it's not bad. If you don't want the S95B, for example, if you're somebody who just absolutely hates Samsung, yeah.
See, we also think in drastically different sizes. You think 55, maybe
Well, no,
65.
I was just throwing it
I
out
only think
there.
77 or bigger.
Yeah, I was just throwing it out
And
there
the
because it's
83 OLED,
$11.99 right now.
like the 83 OLEDs, I just cannot get behind them. They have not changed the panel. They have not done anything to make them better. They still have terrible uniformity. So it's like you basically stuck with 77. There was no 77 A90J.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Dylan Sharp, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate you for your support. He says, still waiting to see someone get a 77-inch S90C to see if it'll be the best value for the money and if it performs closer to the S95C. Well, classy. I think that's you, right? Like you said, you might do that. I don't know if that's still on your radar.
I would have had it already, but it wasn't available when I was there. So I got to wait until next month and should be able to pick it up then.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be very similar to the S95C just because the panel alone is going to push it to that. And if there's a brightness difference, it's probably because it's controlled. I think overall, like the S95C is probably controlled. Like
Not probably, it is absolutely
Yeah.
software restricted.
Right. I'm just saying probably because like I don't, have a way to prove it, but people
No,
said
I mean,
they
the
have
whole,
unlocked it with the
the
service
panel
menu
is,
and stuff.
the whole CES Samsung display saying 2000 nits.
Yeah.
Like, the S95C does do 2000 nits. You just have to know how to go on the service menu and do it, and you absolutely should not do it. They restricted it on purpose for a reason, and
Yeah.
my very strong theory is, Ratings was reaching out to the companies during their burn-in testing, so they got early feedback about the burn-in, and they were before launch. Probably just went in and said, "Well, let's tone this down to make sure it does better on the next testing."
Yeah, I don't think it was anything nefarious or anything like that. I think you're pretty close to probably what happened. It sounds logical, so I'd imagine, yeah, that's probably why they do it. And the A95K is going to be interesting to watch to see like what that can get to. Because I think if Sony wants to push it, they can.
Well, I mean, they did not really effectively use the heatsink with the A95K. So
Right.
if they are able to this year, then I think it's going to be the brightest of the three. Are we going to see 2000 nits? I don't know. But even if they get it to like 1600 when calibrated, then I would say they're safe to use that as their TV for the next year and a half or whatever, to skip the following year so that they can get back on a normal release schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they probably didn't plan on releasing an A95L this year, but when they heard that Samsung Display was doing second generation, they were probably like, well, we gotta, Because usually you're right, they do kind of like skip a year sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Jiraiya. Like, if the S90C is a little bit dimmer than the S95C, it doesn't matter. They're close. Like, I seen the S90C next to the S95C, and it's close. It's, there's not a huge gap there. So, in most content, they look the same. Just like the S95B in most content, brightness wise, they all look the same. It's just, behavior differences.
this is a question about the QN95C. It's still sitting in the box currently. I will probably get it opened up this weekend, and then start working on it. And then maybe by Tuesday, if I have some time, I might do Tuesday stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think about it because you just saw the one, the QN90C, and that of course has the ADS panel, and people are still caught up on that. And it looks like we lost Classy again, but people
Oh
are
no.
still caught up on the whole ADS versus VA thing. So yeah, that's something people want to talk about still. Doesn't really matter to me because like once you have effective local dimming, panel type does not matter, in my opinion. It might matter a
Yeah,
little bit, but I don't think it's a huge factor.
I don't think there's going to be any difference between them from the panel per se, but more so that it's double the dimming zones and software.
Yeah. Should do better with like the smaller black bars, which I saw a little bit of struggles from the QN90C on that, but it was only that like normal 16:9 black bars, it was fine, but like once you start to get into those IMAX black bars and some of the other filmic black bars that's being used, then you can get into some trouble with the black bar algorithm.
On the 65, the 90B was terrible with the smaller black bars. The 90C was much better.
Yeah. No, I've heard the 90B was struggling with a lot of black bars after the update, after the last couple of updates.
Did okay with typical 2 4:1 content, but
Yeah.
the smaller ones on Netflix and whatnot, anything that was it like 4096?
Yeah, like Outer Banks.
It did not do so well with those on the B, but QN90C did fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was just thinking about. I still think it's a size thing. I hate to say, because I know you said on the 55-inch that you see more blooming, but Classy said that you see blooming, but it's minimal. So that's why I'm kind of like thinking they're supposed to be the same as a performance wise, but I don't know. I still think they're conspiracy.
Well, it could also with the smaller black bars sometimes like if the zones don't align with the shape or the size of the black bars well, then sometimes a zone can overlap and have to light up more.
Yeah.
And that's
why
that could be size dependent.
Yep, you're right. It could be size dependent for the black bars. So I think that's a good point, Max. The more dimming zones should help with that though. Like on the QN95C, you shouldn't have an issue with the black bars. The QM8 shouldn't have too many issues. From what I saw from FOMO's stream, it was doing really good in those really challenging scenes where the U8H was like lighting up big time.
Yeah. And I mean, I had the UAH and stuff, and I thought it was a decent TV, but comparing it to the QM8, it's a difference.
And thank you for the super chat, Dylan Sharp. He says, for me, it's less about what the peak brightness of the 77-inch S90C will be and more about whether its APL will be similar to the S95C or not. All right.
Yeah, so if it's, say, 1,000 nits versus the 1370 on a S95C for peak, that's not going to be too much of a visible difference, but the S95C being almost 300 full field, if the S90C at 77 inches is the same or very similar, that'll be more determining of how it does with the high APL scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch. I didn't see a huge difference between the S95B and the S95C, honestly. Like, only when you put the TV into active tone mapping, that's really it. Other than that, it's barely a difference.
Yeah, because most content can't most content does not go above those panels capabilities. So it's only when you push the panel beyond the content that
Yeah.
you'll see those differences.
Yeah, like I tried like a few of the Spears and Munzel demos. Like I tried the 2000 nits version, and I've tried a couple of those really crazy demos on YouTube, which is some of them are pretty high. Um, and I just didn't notice a big difference. So I think the S95C is definitely reined in. Like I definitely think it's reined in a lot. It's similar to the S95B. So yep, thank you for the super chat, Dylan. Appreciate you. A couple more questions in here. Thank you for asking questions, guys. I appreciate it. Sometimes nobody asks questions. It's like, what are we going to talk about? But he says, do you think the 83 A90J or 83 C2 for PS5? Probably the C2 for 83 inch. It's going to be cheaper, right? And they're going to be
Doesn't
fairly
matter if it's
similar
cheaper.
at the 83 inch size.
They're the same panels, same
Yeah.
performance. Actually, the C2 is more consistently performing higher, upper 700s, whereas I've seen 83-inch A90Js be in the 600s. For some reason, Sony's very hit or miss on, like, there's a bigger range of where the Sonys measure versus the LGs. And then because of the way Sony has very aggressive tone mapping, the C2 should just be brighter overall.
Right.
And then be better for gaming.
Gotcha. Yep. Let's see. So what? I know you don't like 83-inch OLEDs, but what would your price be for those? Like, what would the target price be? Your sweet spot?
2500, where the Costco had the C2 83.
Yeah. So that's how I feel too. I definitely feel like the 83-inch sizes are too expensive.
Like, let me
Considering
put it this
the
way:
prices
if
of
I
the
wasn't
85-inch LCDs.
if I wasn't reviewing and changing TVs all the time, and I just had to buy a TV that I was going to keep for years, at $2,500 for that, that's okay. I can deal with its problems
Right.
type
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, I probably would have bought it too. I'll be honest with you. I just don't know. Like, if they delivered it, sure. Some people were not sure if they deliver like in store to your house.
No, anything you buy in store, they will not deliver to you. But I think what he was saying is, if you went up to the counter, they would order it and have it delivered from the website. If you do that and the website has a different price, I don't know if they can make the website price match or not.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Yeah, most of the time though, when they're on clearance like that, they're not available on the website anymore. So that would be tough. Rachel, thank you for the super chat. He's what's up? How are you doing? She says, "Hey y'all, can you catch me up? What's your opinion on the Q7 and the QM8? Is it worth the price?" Yeah. So the Q7, we didn't talk too much about that, but the QM8 definitely seems like it's pretty decent out of the gate. I think you're seeing a couple of sale prices on it early on. You can get lucky, maybe catch one of those. It still is kind of up in the air. I gotta see it for myself before I say it's worth the price. It looks pretty good though. I think for a launch price, it's aggressive. But it is still TCL, and TCL usually doesn't have TVs priced that high. So that's kind of where I still have caution. I'm like, I like it, but I'm still paying that much for a TCL. It's just more of a thing I got to get out of my head with that. Because if it looks good, it looks good. I don't care what brand it is. But there is those little things about the TCL, like what FOMO was showing on his stream with the settings. I don't like their settings menu at all. I think that I wish they had some sort of UI, that they would work on. Them in Hisense, like they don't have like a really intuitive UI, and that's the thing that holds them back. It's like processing, UI, like things that kind of make a clean TV. I just don't feel like they have that. but they definitely have the picture quality.
Yeah, and the thing that on all the TCLs, if you have a menu on the screen, it greatly impacts the way the image looks. So you cannot make a setting change with and then try to flip back
Mhm.
and forth and see what it's doing. You have to actually change it, close out, and then see what it does. Like it'll make some visible change when the menu's still open, but you won't see the full effect unless you close the entire menu.
Yeah, that's a bummer because
Oh, that's
it has
terrible.
like an opaque like thing over it, right? Like when you're in the menus, it
Yeah,
puts something over top of the image.
even when he was using the Panasonic player menu, as soon as a menu came on screen, the rest of the image dimmed.
Oh, so it's just the local dimming behavior.
Yeah, something. It just messes with everything with the way the local dimming works, I guess.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, no, like the Q7 is one of those TVs where I think that could end up looking good. I saw that TV at CES, and I was pretty impressed with it. It's not mini LED, but that kind of doesn't matter because if it really does look good, it has good local naming performance. It looked better than a 6 series to me. So they had a 6 series there at CES, and I thought that the Q7 looked better than the 6 series. So I think the Q7 could be good. We'll have to see though. I would say wait on those though, Rachel. Especially with all the other things that are out there right now. It's I know it's like you just want to buy a TV already, but um, I do think like I probably wouldn't get a QM8 right away. Like
Yeah, I'll wait for it.
I think like 2100 for that deal that was there on the 85 inch, that was enticing, but I couldn't pull the trigger in my mind. I was like, but the QN90B 85 inch is 2299 right now. Like you're telling me the QM8's better than that? It might be, but I don't know, you know? So that's the only thing that would be holding me back. Deals like that still being out there. Yep. Thank you for that super chat, Rachel.
All right, I gotta head out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
I got a couple minutes too.
yeah, we're gonna make this a little bit of a shorter stream. Thank you for stopping by, Classy. Have a
Yep.
good
All right,
one.
have a good
Later.
one.
You too.
Later. Yeah, so let's get some questions. So I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. We'll do like a rapid fire round. If you need a question answered urgently, best way to do it is super chat. But we'll try to get to as many questions as we can before we end. Uh, you got a certain time limit, Max? What you thinking?
Yeah, I probably said the next 5 minutes. I hate to say, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Let's get this question right here.
65 inch G2, $1,250. 55 inch S90C, 1100. Wait, I don't know if that's dollars, right? That might be the what is that like a different currency?
Oh yeah,
It might be. But let's just think if the higher number, I think I would go with the G2, 65 inch or a 55 inch here. I don't value the size like low at all. When we're talking about the difference between a G2 and a S90C, I said the same thing with the S95B and the G2. I definitely would go with the bigger size G2. Now, if we're talking they're the same size, then I give the edge to the QD-OLED. But when it's a size difference, I'll take the W OLED on that one.
he said it was dollars.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a really good price for the G2, honestly, and the S90C. So, but that's what I'm thinking. I don't know about you, Max. What do you think? 65, 55, is that
I always
deal
go for the
breaker
bigger
for you?
size for me.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I think I'll probably go with the G2 as well too. It's just that's 90C. It's just still so new.
Mhm.
And it's a 55 inch. Don't get me wrong. I think as a performance wise, I think they'll perform probably similarly in certain situations depending on the content.
Yeah.
Um, I know that the S90C would be better when it comes to color, when it comes to certain areas with the colors. But as in, if people are looking for HDR impact, I think they're gonna be pretty comparable to each other.
Yeah.
So that's why I probably just say go with the G2 65 inch.
Yeah, I definitely go with the 65-inch G2 here, and you also get that 5-year
Yeah.
warranty. I think that's a good value if you don't have to buy a mount. Like if you're gonna mount the TV, that's a good value too. I love the G2. I think as it goes down in price, it's still a really good TV. And then Jiraiya was saying, I don't know about you, KG and Max, but I'm hyped for OLED to hit mainstream prices next year when Samsung makes WOLED TVs. Yeah, no, it's gonna put pressure on the market, and I'm really interested to see if they're going to have access to MLA. I doubt it, but it would be cool if they did. But yeah, no, like just regular WOLEDs by Samsung should be interesting. I really think that Samsung does a good job with their game mode. Of course, Game Motion Plus only helps, and we know that they're not going to lock down their peak brightness in SDR. So
I was just
there's
about
a
to
lot
say
of
about the
pluses there, you know.
I was just about to say that last question about the G2 and the S90C. I said, yeah, I said if you think about gaming, then yeah, the S90C will probably be better in that situation. But
Yeah,
I still go with the G2.
yeah, no, I agree with this, Nathan. I would do the same thing. 77-inch OLED is awesome. I love my A80J 77-inch, and I'm not upgrading. So you can, you know, you can say, hey, why not just upgrade to the 77-inch QD-OLED? I don't need to. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like I just don't need to. I probably won't watch it enough to make use of it because I'm always watching the TVs I'm reviewing more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah. I would did the same thing too.
Yeah, 77 C2 should get real cheap soon. Yep. Watch out for that on Memorial Day. It's like I keep seeing those drops on Memorial Day every year. Um, don't jinx it about the peak brightness setting in SDR. I would be shocked if Samsung limited it because
I
Sony doesn't limit it.
Yeah. I think it's a good question too. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people are talking about this whole Dolby Vision and
Right.
yeah, so I could go first. For me, so I know a lot of people like to check a lot of boxes when it comes to Dolby Vision. For me personally, because I have Sony TVs in the house and I like the HDR 10 version and disable Dolby Vision by using my Apple TV. And for me, the reason being is because I feel that I'm getting more impactful content when it comes to using HDR10 compared to Dolby Vision. I know a lot of people are probably going to fight me on this, but that's kind of like just my own opinion. But it's just like when you have other TV manufacturers that use Dolby Vision, they're kind of like their own type of way, especially with their tone mapping and stuff. Even though Dolby Vision has their own algorithm, but manufacturers do their things, do their little tweaks here and there. I think LG is the only one, if I'm not mistaken, that's supposed to do it correctly. But Sony just haven't been doing such a great job with that unless you get it professionally calibrated.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that's a really good point. I haven't had a good experience with my A80J's Dolby Vision. I turned it off. So that's that. I don't know. You can take that as what you want. Every time I review the LG OLEDs, something's wrong with Dolby Vision, so I can't say like I seen it while it was fixed. But yeah, I just think that there's not like a huge difference, and content is not aggressively, done. So it's like you're not gonna see one Dolby Vision is gonna be much different than HDR10. It's gonna deliver very similar. I
Yeah,
don't think there's a huge difference.
yeah, that's
Maybe,
why.
if it was implemented correctly and you would see movies and TV shows like taking advantage of things, but I think that they just kind of sometimes throw it in a container, or even if it's graded in Dolby Vision, it's not, they have to remember that it's also going to be seen on HDR10. So they want to make it look good on both. So they're not going to do too much with the dynamic metadata, I don't think.
Yeah. So I mean, from my experience, I'm talking about the X95K, the A90J, and the A9F. Uh, I felt like some of those Dolby Vision content, especially when it comes to skin tones, look a little bit more greenish in my opinion. But well, stuff in my A90J, because my A90J is calibrated, so that's a little bit different. But on my A9F and my X95K, I have noticed it and stuff. So if I disable Dolby Vision, I don't see that with just regular HDR10 content. So if you do a comparison between Samsung and any other manufacturer, it's kind of like you're really splitting hairs on certain things too. So I think just because you're just trying to check mark some of the features and stuff like that doesn't mean like it's the best.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's a really good point. And go check out Classy's stream that he did with Spears of Munsell. Those guys and David McKenzie. It was good information. They talked about Dolby Vision a little bit. And I enjoyed that stream quite a bit. So yeah, it looks like we're caught up on questions mostly. So we're gonna just do some call outs now. So like Max, anything you're working on? Anything you released recently that you want to promote?
Yeah, I haven't. So I'm supposed to put out a video for the LG C3 review, but I'm still doing some tweaks. So I was going to release it today, but I still gotta do some fine tuning on that. So hopefully next week, depending on my work schedule. But besides that, I'm also going to be doing some subwoofer unboxings too. So stay tuned for that as well too, because I think I mentioned that in the last stream that I bought some new subwoofers. So check that out. That will be coming out soon as well too. But yeah, that's on my side. What about you? Oh yeah, you just came out with a video today. Yeah, I was about to say that was a good video.
Showed people how to kind of like tweak the S95B a little bit, kind of do some sort of Frankenstein mode with the dynamic mode. It's fun.
Dynamic.
I'm not saying that it's super accurate. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's accurate at all, actually. It's just people want that same behavior on the S95B, and that's one of the best ways to do it. It's one of the only ways to do it. You could also go into game mode, but there is also some problems with that as well. And that one is definitely going to be way over brightened. So, yeah, it's no perfect way to do it, but the people that wanted to have it, I've gotten really good feedback on. So I'm happy to see that. And yeah, I thought maybe it was an interesting video to do, and why not? I call it the what if comparison. And I was like, maybe if I should do something like that, like more often, where I just like try some stuff.
Yeah, do it. I was just going to say, you have
a bigger disclaimer saying like, hey, look, this is all experimental, scientist type stuff. But Dylan with super chat before we head out, thank you. He says, do you think as the market moves towards OLED in general, that maybe studios will focus and improve their Dolby Vision HDR editing as it'll be more noticed? I don't think so, because they're looking at like what is the TV that it's going to be on the most, right? Like what TVs do people have in their home? Surprisingly enough, not a lot of people have Dolby Vision. They're more likely to have something that's just going to be HDR. But the fact that most TVs probably can't even do a real HDR anyway, the majority of people's TVs. So I think they're very light on what they do. There's some shows that definitely are better in Dolby Vision. I actually like Outer Banks a little bit better in Dolby Vision. I think it has a little bit nicer colors. But it's debatable, because I've also seen in HDR10, it can look very similar, and a lot of it might just be more so the way that the panel differences are. So I think as TVs get better, you're gonna get a better performances out of Dolby Vision, better performances out of HDR. We need brighter TVs, though. Like, just keep getting these TVs brighter, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right, so that's it. Yeah, thank you everybody for stopping by. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. It's a short stream today, but that's because FOMO did a stream, and I think you guys are all streamed out probably. I know that I am. I was on there too. So
Yeah.
but it was fun. Check out that FOMO stream if you haven't already. Check out Classy's stream with Spears of Munsell. It's really good. And head over to Max's channel, hit the subscribe button, check out his videos. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Later.